I wasn't sure about making this livestream analysis at first, but then I got obsessed with Ineffa's vision and with Mare Jivari, as if I wasn't already obsessed with it anyway, so I basically found myself writing down my ideas, and here we are. Today we are going to try to figure out who Ineffa is, why Nod-Krai has a different vision inlay, what's up with Mare Jivari, and who Bennett might be, but first. This is the theory video, and leaks are prohibited in the comment section. I will use information available in the game, but my theories and conclusions are not to be considered the official lore of the game, unless I got something right and it's confirmed in a later update of the game itself. Well then, spin your wheel of misfortune and let's get this video started. Let's start with Ineffa. She's a robot assembled from scraps from all over Teyvat by Aino, the genius owner of the Krumkake workshop from Nod-Krai. Ineffa's core is especially important because it comes from the ancient dragon civilizations of Natlan, and we got a lot of hints about its real origin which point toward a specific answer that sounds too obvious, so it's probably a bait, but let's buy for now. When Chaska said,
"Are we supposed to believe that Bianca's mother survived?"
she was speaking about the 8th Dragon Lord of Toland, the priestess of floral candles and skyborn feathers, who raised a human, Lianka, who later founded the Flower Feather clan, you can see the similarities in the names, and joined Xbalanque's rebellion against the dragons. So the 8th Dragon Lord was sentenced to death by the Chamber of Deliberation for treason, but she might have survived. Ineffa's shield has the same 2D retro game effect as Ahau, the 10th Dragon Lord, so Ineffa's core might actually contain the priestess's consciousness, reason why Sandrone said,
"An ancient relic from Natlan's dragon civilization."
So she will definitely try to steal Ineffa in Nod-Krai, while the voice talking to Ineffa in the trailer might actually be the 8th Dragon Lord. Now, watch Hoyoverse avoid at all cost any kind of interaction between Ahau and Ineffa, just like it happened in Fontaine with Neuvillette. When it comes to Ineffa's vision, that she actually doesn't have during the Archon quest, despite the fact that Nod-Krai belongs to Snezhnaya, their vision inlay is completely different. Shadow from the future here, I just noticed that the inlay of the visions in Nod-Krai is silver, not gold. Okay, now back to the video. A person always receives the inlay of the nation they're in when they get a vision, like Thomas Inazuma's inlay despite him being from Mondstadt. And the inlays always reflect the statues of the 7, Venti's wings, Zhongli's cubes, the Shogun's Denden Daiko drums, Nahida's leaf, Fossalor's teardrop, and Mawika's sun, but the Nod-Krai's inlay is literally a moon. Now, I believe the statues of the 7 appeared during the Cataclysm to extend the Archon's powers all over their nation to defend their people from the Abyss, reason why Mawika is depicted on the Natalinese statue. But we also know that the Beli Tsar couldn't defend the area that later became Nod-Krai, maybe because it was simply too far away, and this might be the reason why Nod-Krai won't have a statue of the 7. Instead, the Frost Moon Scions have been sculpting their own statues in honor of the moon goddesses they worship, which would explain why the inlays look like a moon. I also believe that the statues of the 7 are sculpted petrified Irminsul trees, because the traveler can acquire memories from them, so they have to be part of the ley lines, which means that the Frost Moon statues are probably the same. Interestingly, the source from which the elements are drawn in Nod-Krai has been hidden, so they're not regular visions, and we know that the Fatui are trying to steal the primordial energy the Frost Moon Scions use. So my theory is that the moons, which are dragons' constructs, were originally used to draw phlogiston from the light realm and turn it into the elements of the human realm. I mean, the moon shines because it reflects the light of the sun, and this is basically what phlogiston represents. Lastly, we won't have lunar oculi, of course, so what will we feed these statues? Moon fragments? Finally, it's time to talk about Mare Jivari, and by the way, I know that the actors say
The Mare Jivari.
but this word means female horse, while the Chinese name for this place is Silent Sea of Ashes, so it's supposed to be the Latin word mare, which means sea. First of all, I want to address the Wanderer's Troupe enigma because they lived 1000 years ago, but they also visited Mare Jivari, which was only created 500 years later. I need Astaroth not to be involved because I already dealt with 2 of her paradoxes and that's enough, so please Astaroth, stop it, I can't do this anymore. Anyway, my theory is simple. The Wanderer's Troupe, composed only by the Conductor, the Sojourner and the Swordswoman, went to Natlan, explored Tenochtitlan and entered the area that 500 years later became Mare Jivari. There they found Bakunawa, fought it, maybe even defeated it, and the Swordswoman, aka the Flautist, carved a piece of its body. Then the trio went to Mondstadt where they met Hoytslid, the last member of the troupe, fought against aristocracy, failed and died. Now Bakunawa is one of Reindar's creations and at first glance it's impossible for it to have existed 1000 years ago, but in reality it's actually completely possible. Excluding the romantic story, Perineri's description of the Crimson Moon dynasty is accurate. The authors found archaeological evidence about the Beastmaster Knights, a section of the army of Khaenri'ah that used the Rift Wolves as their aid. As we know, the Rift Wolves are also Reindar's creations, so she was already alive during the Crimson Moon dynasty, hence there's a chance she was alive 1000 years ago as well, and Bakunawa's presence in Natlan that long ago could also explain why Vanessa's tribe had to leave, and they might have been the animal tribe, also considering the Mawika's bracelet has an anti-triangle right where the animal color should have been. Anyway, the last quote-unquote unexplainable thing about the Wanderer's Troupe is that what the Flautist carved out of Bakunawa's body, the runestone, had been gifted to the Knights of Favonius, but this organization was founded years after the members of the Wanderer's Troupe had already died. All except for one, Hoytslid, who was spared because he came from the Lores clan, so he was only disowned. Hoytslid then created a secret society to keep fighting the aristocracy and eventually helped Vanessa defeat them. The thing is simple then. The Flautist gave Hoytslid the runestone and he gifted it to the Knights of Favonius on behalf of the Wanderer's Troupe, because the goal for which they all lost their life had finally been achieved. Next, in the livestream we saw 2 different versions of Mare Jivari, the expected windless place with pale colors similar to the Night Kingdom, and a very windy one which we actually knew existed because the adventurer that found Bennett struggled against the wind to get to him. Now, Mare Jivari was created by Sanhaj and Tenoch 500 years ago by expanding the Night Kingdom and calling it forth onto the surface, so here's my theory. The Wanderer's Troupe defeated Bakunawa 1000 years ago, so the people forgot about its existence. Then the Cataclysm gave it strength, and Sanhaj defeated it again with the Night Kingdom. 20 or 30 years ago, it regained its strength, so the people saw it roaming around, and that's when probably this biting cold wild manifestation made the area disappear into the Night Kingdom to prevent Bakunawa from leaving this prison Sanhaj created. I also think that Mare Jivari cycles from windy to windless all the time, and Bakunawa regains its strength because it absorbs the phlogiston winds, which then makes the place windless as a consequence. This might be the reason why we see Enjo in windy Mare Jivari, so that's the version we'll get to first, and then we end up fighting Bakunawa in windless Mare Jivari after. Lastly, Bennett is coming with us in Mare Jivari. We saw him struggling against the winds, and right above where Bakunawa is in windless Mare Jivari, we saw Bennett's constellation, or better yet, a symbol that then became his constellation because his fate is tied to it, just like Child's constellation looks like the Aldebaran Narwhal, not the other way around. Bennett's constellation is Rota Calamitas, the Wheel of Misfortune, but the symbol in the sky could have a different or the opposite meaning. So, who is Bennett? I have no idea, but I don't think someone decided to brave the most dangerous place on Teyvat just to abandon a child, which means that he might have been born because of something in Mare Jivari. He's also obviously not Xbalanque because the ancient names work the same way as Irminsul stars, so Mawika, the current Kiongozi, is Xbalanque's reincarnation. My options here are very limited since we have just a symbol in the sky to work with, but Bennett might be the reincarnation of the Lava Walker, who was abandoned by his master and friends in Mare Jivari, or, crazy theory, maybe Bakunawa was once a human Rhine daughter experimented on, and since the place is in the Night Kingdom, which contains the memories and legends of Natlan and its inhabitants, the Wyatt might have decided to give him a new chance at life when it saw the Mondstadt adventurer so deep into Mare Jivari. We might even think that the symbol in the sky was supposed to be his ancient name and it was meant to be the Wheel of Fortune, but as he was brought outside of Natlan, he was, for a lack of a better word, disconnected from it, and it had the opposite effect on his life, turning him into the unluckiest person on Tvat. At this point, the possibilities are endless, so as always, our only real option right now is to wait a few days for the update to go live and see what the writers have in store for us. And that's it, I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you're interested in Genshin Impact theory videos, consider subscribing. My next video, or videos, will probably be about 5.8, so I'll have to play everything from this new update first, and I honestly can't wait. Well then, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, over and out.